All right, everybody. Welcome to another Sidemen React video. Well, me reacting to Sidemen reacting, them reacting to other things. Oh my god. And they're like, bro, wasn't he? I know, I just said it when I was running out of breath already, so yes. We're going to react to athletes that got caught cheating. Now are they going to be talking about actually cheating on said partner, or actually cheating in athletic games? Probably the second one, obviously, but I just thought it'd be funny if I'm like, get it, cheating, no, okay. So, just, Simon, this is the first person I see. Simon, please take it away. Take me away from my misery.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sidemen Reacts. Today, we have the three most natural athletes of the Sidemen. The others all are cheaters.
I like that.
In some way.
You know what? I wouldn't even argue with that, mate. I wouldn't argue with that.
Of course you would.
Well, we have Simon, Harry, and Toby, and we are watching 10 athletes who got caught cheating on live television.
Oh, on live TV!
He's been caught.
Has Ethan been caught what?
Cheating. Or is it not public? That's not public. Don't worry. Never mind. Carry on.
What?
Here are 10 athletes across the sports spectrum who tried to cheat and got caught in front of millions.
The Maradona one is one of the greatest.
I rate it, I rate it so high.
That's the thing. You can't hate it.
The sport of cricket doesn't often deal with crazy scandals, until March 2018 anyway. That was when several members of the men's Australian cricket team got caught cheating and sent the entire squad's reputation through the shredder. During the match against South Africa, television cameras caught Aussie bowler Cameron Bancroft appearing to rub the ball with some strange substance, which turned out to be sandpaper. Umpires were notified and confronted him, but they didn't penalize him since he hadn't gotten around to messing with the ball in any influential way. But he tried to, and he wasn't alone. It soon came out that team captains Steve Smith and David Warner ordered Bancroft to rub the ball with sandpaper, thereby making it easier to swing the ball. This is essentially cricket speak for a curveball. After a brief investigation, not to mention an irate phone call from the Aussie Prime Minister, Cricket Australia doled out their punishment. Since they were the brains behind the operation, Smith and Warner received 1-year bans from professional cricket and lost 100% of their pay for the game in question. Bancroft didn't get off scot-free, receiving a 9-month suspension and losing 75% of his game money. He only returned to pro cricket in December 2018. Then there's the coach, Darren Lemon, who was found as taking no part
how do you think you're gonna get away with that?
Yeah, for real.
You might though. Like if you could be sneaky with it.
Huh?
Just a little.
But surely, the umpire does handle the ball.
Yeah.
If you use sandpaper, think how rough that's going to be.
I'm impressed that he kept it in there as balls. He pulled it.
Oh, that's a risky operation. That's a risky operation. Oh.
I didn't even think of that.
Well, on that note, let's carry on.
Yeah, please.
It's
Baseball fans loved the late 90s home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Both players have essentially been blackballed from the sport for using performance-enhancing drugs to boost their power. But I'm not talking about that, since Sosa certainly wasn't dumb enough to do steroids on camera. However, in June 2003, he was caught red-handed with a cheat that only added to his rapidly crumbling reputation. After hitting a ball hard enough to break his bat, umpires noticed cork popping out of the bat. Corked bats are notorious for making it easier to hit for power and are completely against the rules. Sosa was immediately ejected, becoming only the 6th player since 1970 to get caught using a corked bat.
He's fuming.
Game suspension for his offense, tied for the longest cork-related
you've already been
caught.
taking
Sosa later appealed the
steroids.
As officials accepted his claim that he mistakenly used a practice bat he had corked to look cool for the crowd during pregame warm-ups.
I don't know.
Oh,
coupled with the tests of 76 of Sosa's bats finding 0 cork among them, convinced the powers that be that Sosa didn't mean to cheat. But who knows if that's true. It's all but accepted he cheated to hit all those home runs. And once you see one corked bat, it's hard not to suspect he's been corking throughout his career. You never know for sure. Considering Sosa still isn't in the Hall of Fame and likely never will be, the court of public opinion has clearly found him guilty on all accounts.
So he would never have got caught if his bat didn't split, because I guess there's no much talent, is there?
Yeah.
God works in mysterious ways. He baited him out.
That, or somebody could have tattled on him.
Years, cheating in football has largely been centered around the usage of PEDs, deflated footballs,
I did.
practice. But in 2010,
hang on a minute, boys. I'll wheel this one back.
In recent years, cheating in football has largely been centered around the usage of
you
He just wanted to see that, innit?
No. Look at Simon's ass.
He just wanted.
That's insane.
But in 2010, the coach for the New York Jets embraced another fun way to cheat at pigskin, tripping opponents like a schoolyard bully. In a game against the Miami Dolphins, Jets strength and conditioning coach Sal Alosi decided to give his team an advantage.
I rate that,
I rate that.
I rate that.
He wasn't hurt much and actually returned return to the game later on, but it wound up being a terrible look for Alosi and the Jets. Even the CBS commentators
That is really
remarked
bad,
this is
to be
just
fair.
uncalled for in the NFL, and that
Yeah.
whoever tripped Carroll should be ashamed of themselves. They were, as Alosi quickly admitted it was him, and that he tripped Carroll on purpose. He claimed it was a total lapse in judgment and that he was willing to accept whatever punishment
I've heard
the
that
team deemed
before.
necessary. It wound up being a year's punishment. Alosi found himself suspended for the rest of the season, including the playoffs, where the Jets made it to the AFC Championship. He was also fined $25,000, resigned from the Jets in January 2011, and hasn't worked in the NFL since. Oh, and the Jets lost that game, appropriately enough.
Yeah, why are fines so small? Like,
Well,
fines
relative.
are so small for the amount that these people earn.
Well, was that American football or was that Australian? Aussie rules. What was
No, that was American.
Oh, okay, that's nothing. So yeah, that's plenty.
Like, footballers get fined like
50K.
5,000, or 5, 10,
10
20,
grand.
whatever.
Yeah. Peanuts to them.
Chuck them in prison.
Prison.
Relax, bro.
I remember
There's
this
much
one.
theater as
No,
it is
do
a
I?
sport, judging by how many players attempt
Wait,
to
no,
gain an
no.
advantage through flopping. Or
Eat.
acting
Oh.
like contact hurt way more than an actual
Wait,
hit.
why did you
If
say eat?
successful, the other team gets
little
penalized,
side
and the
move.
suddenly healthy player gets up
That
and
dive
keeps on
was the
playing.
best.
Successful
Is it
flopping
ball?
but based in reality. Something Brazil's Rivaldo Ferreira
Yeah, I have
didn't
seen
even
this. Is
attempt
this
to
is
do.
the one-
Yeah, this
Top
is
one, right?
the
In
corner.
a game
Yeah.
against Turkey,
The what?
Turkish player Hakan Unsal kicked the ball toward Ferreira. The ball only hit his shin, but Ferreira decided to act otherwise. He collapsed to the
How-
ground, screaming and holding his face. The officials, seeing Ferreira in such supposed pain, ejected Unsal from the game and slapped Turkey with a penalty. Such antics may well have helped the Brazilians win the match 2-1. But Ferreira apparently forgot instant replay and giant screens exist, because shortly after the penalty, the
How
stadium
that's
screen
happened.
replayed the incident, clearly showing the ball didn't come remotely close to Ferreira's face.
So bad.
Ferreira admitted to the cheat, though he peppered his admission with a healthy dash of remorseless victim blaming. As he explained, the ball touched my leg, but the other player was still wrong to kick the ball at me. I said sorry to him, but that's football. It may not have hit my face, but the Turkish player should not have done that in the first place. FIFA wasted little time.
I mean,
in
it is
punishing
kind of
Ferreira.
true.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you would get a red
yeah,
card at the
but-
end
They
of it.
fined him 11,500 Swiss francs.
No, look at that!
That is peanuts, man.
That's like $10K.
It's nothing. Oh dear. Well, no, that is a lot of money. Let's not
But
get ahead of
for
ourselves.
Rivaldo.
Yeah, not for Rivaldo.
If you're wondering why flopping keeps happening in soccer, wrist slap punishments like that might well be why. If you're a casual soccer fan, you've likely heard about the hand of God. But here's the entire story behind one of the most famous goals and one of the most famous cheats of all time. Argentina and England met in the quarterfinals of the 1986
Them
World
shorts.
Cup. After 51 scoreless
You like
minutes,
short
Argentina's
shorts.
Diego Maradona kicked the ball toward England's goal, where goalkeeper Peter Shilton was waiting to knock the ball away.
Yeah,
He,
you
as
know
a
what? It was
goalkeeper,
against
could use
us,
his
but I
hands to
rate
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
Maradona, as a striker,
Like if
did
Rashford had
not,
done that, I'd be
but
like,
he
"Come
was
on, lad!"
Come on, lad.
to punch the ball away from the goal, Maradona leapt into the air and punched it back in.
How
the
did they
referee
not
see
somehow
that,
didn't
though?
see the
Yeah.
cheat and allowed the goal to stand, starting Argentina on the path to a 2-1 win and eventual World Cup
You gotta remember the refs
championship
seeing
victory
it in,
over
like,
Mexico.
real time.
Post-match,
360p.
Maradona was asked about
True.
the goal, since replays
They
clearly
played in
showed he used his
360p back
hands.
then.
He claimed the goal happened thanks to a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God, giving rise to the term hand of God. Years later, in 2005, Maradona admitted he did it on purpose and knew immediately he had cheated.
What?
In fact, he told USA Today
It
he
took
needed
that
his
long
team
to
help
admit
him
it.
expel the referee afterward, explaining, "I was waiting for my teammates to embrace me and no one came. I told them, come hug me or the referee isn't going to allow it." Maradona was swiftly punished for both cheating and manipulating the official by getting away with absolutely everything.
Oh my god.
It's never smart to cheat during a marathon or triathlon. There are cameras and data everywhere.
do you?
And even without that, all officials need to do is look at
Trip
someone's
someone,
time
I
to
guess?
see if their accomplishment seems on the up and up. In the case of Julie Miller, she wasn't even close. Miller came out of seemingly nowhere to win Ironman Canada in July 2015. This made no sense to the other runners,
Just ran out of the
particularly
bush.
super athlete Suzanne Davis, who was favored to win and had eyewitnesses aplenty insisting she had. No one, meanwhile, had seen Miller in the lead ever, except suddenly she was first past the marathon finish line. It seemed fishy, especially since Miller didn't stick around to shake hands or anything. It was almost
Wait.
like she wanted to disappear as quickly as she appeared.
Wait, did she just get like a
Davis and
lift
her
or
fellow
something?
runners conducted an investigation,
That's
studying
stand out.
photographs, videos, and official time data, along with interviewing eyewitnesses to the race. Their conclusion, one eventually shared by the Ironman board, was that few saw Miller race because she basically didn't. She simply darted in and out of the course, cutting out large swaths of her path.
I
rate it.
Approaching the
I
finish
rate
line.
that
For this,
so
Ironman
much.
Canada disqualified Miller from the race, along with two others she supposedly won before. This left Davis as the winner, which she clearly had been the entire time.
That's
Miller
funny.
still insists she won the
my
race
She's done it
fairly,
twice
but at this
before.
point, with all the proof exposing her as a cheater, her arguments are about as legitimate as a child insisting they're not stealing cookies while their hand is in the jar.
Yeah. Oh.
The story of ex-boxer Louis Resto isn't so much a tale of cheating as it is one of near murderous assault. In
Oh.
1983,
What's that,
Resto
knuckle
fought
dusters
the
in the gloves?
undefeated Billy Collins and unexpectedly beat him senseless. After 10 rounds, Collins'
Jesus.
face was beyond swollen.
Oh, he
and
put
his
plaster
eyes
on
were
his
all
gloves
but
or something,
shut.
I think.
His father and trainer Billy Sr. cried foul after shaking Resto's hands and realizing the gloves felt thin. Sure enough, it turned out Resto's trainer Panama Lewis had removed padding from the gloves, making
man.
Resto's punches stronger than they had any right to be. The New York State Boxing Commission concluded Resto knew the gloves were tampered with and suspended him for a year. Worse for Resto,
Is that it?
Lewis actually went on trial for felonious assault, since getting punched out with illegal gloves was not what Collins signed up for. Found guilty, Resto served 2.5 years in prison.
There we
Oh,
go.
man.
3 years
Jeez.
later, in
Oh, there we go.
2007,
Yeah.
Resto finally admitted he knew the gloves were tainted. Worse, he confessed to other cheats, like having his hand wraps soaked in plaster, basically turning his hands into rocks. He
Jeez.
also admitted
Oh.
Lewis would give him water spiked with asthma medicine. This illegally increased his lung power, which came in handy late in fights while clean boxers
Maybe we need to tell
struggled
JJ about
catch
this
their
one.
breath.
Get his cardio up.
Resto and his career was phony. One thing that was very real and very tragic is Collins' fate. Due to eyesight damage suffered in the Resto fight, Collins had to retire. Months later, he drove drunk and crashed his car, an accident that killed him. His father
Fucking
believed that
hell.
Collins might have intentionally driven drunk and essentially killed himself, feeling his career and life were over because of what Resto did to him.
I'll be pissed.
The era of the spitball, where a pitcher would literally spit on a ball to make it curved and difficult to hit, is long dead. But that hasn't stopped pitchers from making the ball curve in different ways. The problem is, unless their method is getting better at throwing a curveball, chances are they're doing something illegal. That's what happened to Michael Pineda in 2014. The Yankees pitcher decided the best way to handle the Red Sox was to smear pine tar on his hands and neck. He did it twice
Pine
in
tar?
2 weeks, and the first time it resulted in a 4-1 Yankees win. But to viewers, it quickly became evident that he had substance on his hands. By the 5th inning, social media had talked so much about it that even the commentators brought it up. However, by the time Sox management inquired about it, Pineda had wiped his hands clean, and so no punishment could be doled out. When asked about it afterward, he dismissed
Really?
charges of pine tar cheating with, "It's just dirt, nothing to see here." A couple weeks later, also against the Sox, Pineda used his so-called dirt again, except this time the umpires knew to look for it. They caught him using it in just the 2nd inning and threw him out of the game. He later received
Mad.
a lengthy 10-game
And get
suspension
out
for his
of
troubles.
her.
Amazingly, Pineda's real sin, as far as his fellow baseball players were concerned, wasn't that he cheated, but that he did it so flagrantly. Several players defended Pineda, saying
Wouldn't you
up
put
to
it in a place
90%
that's not
of
on
pitchers
camera?
use
Yeah,
rosin,
like, like
sunscreen,
down your
and
pants or
whatever
something.
else they can find.
Yeah, if you put sandpaper next to it, you can put some tar.
They did consider Pineda's flaunting of the stuff to be fairly stupid.
Dwight Howard.
Oh,
When athletes get caught cheating, there's several routes they can take. They can admit to it and apologize, they can deny it, or they can even ignore it. The NBA's Dwight Howard took a novel approach to being exposed as a cheater. He admitted it, admitted to doing it all the time, insisted it was no big deal, and acted like being called a cheater was just ridiculous. In March 2016, Howard's Houston Rockets were
What?
playing the Atlanta Hawks.
I rate that.
Shortly after Howard made a layup, the Hawks' Paul Millsap went for a couple free throws. But while
Millsap.
doing so, he noticed the ball felt stickier than he'd ever felt it before. He handed it to the referee, who brought it over to the scorer's table. There, he discovered a tape-covered can of what turned out to be stickum, an adhesive that many athletes use in the
What?
1970s
Rate
to
that.
help grip the ball easier. However, it's been banned for a long time now, meaning Dwight Howard was using an illegal substance to cheat, somehow. Nobody really knows how a sticky basketball makes it easier to win, since Howard still had to handle the ball himself. Whatever his reason, Howard clearly felt this was no big deal. As he told the Houston Chronicle, "I've been using it for the last 5 years. It hasn't been a problem. I don't know why people are making a big deal out of it. I do it every game. It's not a big deal." Yes, Dwight Howard defended himself against charges of cheating by admitting he cheated, admitting he had done so for years, and challenging anyone to care about it. The NBA apparently did not, electing not to punish Howard in the least.
What?
Are you
So taken back
serious?
by his
It
brazeness,
worked.
They decided to just give him this one.
Oh my
that
god.
actually worked.
Thanks to Lance Armstrong, the sport of bike racing has a reputation for being filled
Unless they
with
haven't.
cheaters. Bicycling is so grueling, it's extremely difficult to succeed at it without routine rule breaking. But it's not all doping like Armstrong. Sometimes, like with Vincenzo Nibali, it's as simple a matter as grabbing hold of a vehicle and letting it move you.
Yo,
instead of
he's
doing the work.
pacing.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's sick.
Nibali,
God.
a former Tour de France champion, competed in the Vuelta a España, a Spanish bike race. At one point, he found himself involved in a crash, and as a result, he was far behind the rest of the pack. Rather than simply bike harder, he and his team employed a technique known as the sticky bottle. Basically, a rider will gain a brief advantage by having his team drive up to him to give him a bottle of water. In the few seconds both the driver and cyclist are holding the bottle, the car drifts the cyclist along without having to do anything.
That's
It's more or less allowed, if
crazy.
not really endorsed by the rules. However, Nibali's version of the sticky bottle was so blatant, officials simply couldn't look the other
Yeah.
way. He grabbed hold of the car itself, which then zoomed him all the way up the other side. This extended
Look how far ahead he got.
of Vuelta officials, who promptly disqualified Nibali and sent him packing. To make things more embarrassing for Nibali, he didn't even win as a result of his cheating. After
my
rejoining the pack, he lost contact yet again, and ultimately finished 31st out of the roughly 160 cyclists.
That's not
Getting
bad, though.
punished for a cheat
That's not too bad, but-
is a
They'll
good
come
definition of a
31st.
Look
bad
at him
day.
go! He's just off. Oh, that's
You
good.
can't cheat and come 31st.
That's not good enough. You're not good enough.
I can't believe Dwight Howard just got away with it.
It's because they said like he was just so bait. He was just like, yeah, what? Like I do
Yeah,
what was
and what?
Yeah.
You cheated.
He said
Yeah.
it with his chest, bro.
Shit, what do we do now?
Chest.
Thanks for watching, guys. Once again, hope you enjoyed. See you next
I
time.
did. But yeah, I'm like, I guess that's one reason why I don't like watching sports, maybe. I'm like, I just, like, but why do you need to? That's the thing. I don't understand. I'm like, you guys are athletes. Like, why? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But maybe it's different for them, you know. It probably is, and I just can't fathom or understand why. Hopefully, maybe you guys in the comments will maybe enlighten me, because I am, you know me, I'm an uncultured swine. I literally feel like I know nothing. So maybe you guys can enlighten me, because I just don't get it. I really don't. I just don't. I'm like, I just don't. So, but yes, hopefully you wow. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope to see all you beautiful, wonderful people in the next video. All right, bye.